Fox 5 News at Noon starts right now.
Atlanta's top cop says his officers are putting in the work, detaining hard-to-get repeat offenders and murder suspects off the streets. APD Chief Rodney Bryant says it took a team effort to arrest several suspects in high-profile cases. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for Fox 5 News at Noon. I'm Portia Bruner. Atlanta police just outlined several of those high-profile cases and arrests. That includes a deadly shooting near the Atlanta Fair. Police have made 3 arrests in that case. Detectives also spoke about the hard work they say detectives put in to arresting 2 people and a man's murder near the Atlanta Beltline. Fox 5's Patty Pan joins us live now from APD headquarters. And Patty, we understand the chief and others talking a lot about what it's taking to get those guys behind bars and keep them there.
Yeah, you know, Portia, that press conference wrapped up about 15 minutes ago. Among those in attendance, Atlanta City Mayor Andre Dickens, as well as a number of police officials, where they highlighted the Atlanta Police Department's fugitive task force, their unit, and the 57 arrests they've made in just a few weeks. Now, police today also expressed their frustration, as well as the community's frustration that a lot of these individuals are repeat offenders getting out. Now, over a nearly 4-week period between March 12th and April 7th, the fugitive unit arrested 57 people, 12 of whom were arrested for murder. Now, other crimes also included aggravated assault and armed battery. Among the arrests, police say those involved in cyclist Tom Arnold's murder near the Beltline and the shooting death of 16-year-old Joshua Adetunji near the Atlanta Fair. Many of those arrested, police say, were repeat offenders. Officials say they are doing their part in getting these criminals off the streets, now asking the court system to help and do their part.
And it is our hope, our desire, and our request that the courts will amplify the work of this police department, the work of our partners, the work of the community, and the expectations of these families and community, that their wisdom and their action will make sure that safety is delivered to our neighborhoods because of the work of our officers. Thank you.
Now, I do also want to mention that Atlanta police say that a lot of these shootings and murders are happening at apartment complexes, outside Atlanta nightclubs. They're asking that the community help in keeping crime down. They also reiterated that Crime Stoppers is a very important tool for their department as well as the community. We'll, of course, have more on this story coming up tonight. For now, that is the latest outside Atlanta Police headquarters. I'm Patty Pan, Fox 5 News.
All right, Patty, thank you. Atlanta police say last year's Piedmont Park murder investigation is still active. You may recall someone brutally stabbed Katie Janess and her dog Bowie last July in Midtown. Detectives tell us they're still going through a lot of evidence in that case and still looking for forensic evidence to advance their investigation. Now to a developing story in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where outrage is growing over a deadly shooting of a black man detained by a police officer. Newly released body camera video shows the intense encounter, the moment an officer and a black man struggled over a taser before the officer shot and killed the man.
Stop! Stop resisting! Let go of the taser!
Now, that video starts with Patrick Leoya running from an officer who pulled him over last week for driving with a license plate that didn't belong to the vehicle that he was driving. The city's police chief says the fight over the taser lasted about 90 seconds. The final moments, and police say the officer was on top of Leoya and had him on his back trying to subdue him. The police chief told reporters the officer deployed the taser and it didn't make contact. He says at some point Leoya was shot in the head. State police will investigate this shooting, and the civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who spoke on the family's behalf, has called for the officer involved in that shooting to be fired and prosecuted. Brooklyn police search for the motive now, and a video of suspected gunmen posted on social media in the weeks before Tuesday's subway shootings. We expect Frank James to make his first court appearance today. Detectives arrested the 62-year-old man about 30 hours after they say he fired 33 shots on the train, hitting 10 people and injuring several others. James faces federal terrorism charges. And we now want to turn your attention to a story that made headlines here in Metro Atlanta. We're talking about the shooting death of 8-year-old Secoriea Turner. Secoriea died on July 4th of 2020 when someone opened fire on her mother's car near the Wendy's where Rayshard Brooks was killed by an Atlanta police officer. Today, Julian Conley faced a judge for a bond hearing. And Fox 5's Eric Perry joins us live now from the Fulton County Courthouse with details on what happened in court today. Eric?
Yeah, good afternoon, Portia. Ultimately, the judge denied bond for Julian Conley. She said, quote, "It would be foolish of her to let him out of jail given his past record." So this all came after about 30 minutes of arguments on both the state and defense sides on if bond should be granted. Let's start with the prosecution's arguments here. You're taking a look at some of the evidence that the state presented in court as to why the bond should be denied. They say Conley is a known member of what's called the Elm Street Piru Bloods gang. They say it's a violent criminal street gang. They went through Instagram messages and posts showing criminal activity, saying all of this happened while he was actually out on bond from a previous case in Cobb County where he allegedly threw a firecracker at a woman's car while on the highway. They say police ultimately found more than 1,000 rounds of ammunition and guns in that car. Now, as for this case involving the death of Turner, they say surveillance cameras from a MARTA bus on scene shows Conley with a gun and ultimately firing the rounds that killed Secoriea Turner.
He repeatedly violated that bond, and that he repeatedly did so by illegally possessing weapons, pimping women, selling drugs, committing fraud, and ultimately murdering, from the state's perspective, an 8-year-old girl in our community. We would ask that the court deny bond.
And bond is denied, I find that the defendant poses a very significant risk to commit additional felonies if released and poses a significant risk to the community.
So that was Judge Kelly Lee Ellerby, who is presiding over the case. As for Conley's attorney, Arnold Ragas, he argues that his defendant is no flight risk or harm to the community. He actually says he would be living with his parents, who are both law enforcement officers. Now, as for the Instagram post, he says his client is, quote, just talking trash and would not go through with any of those claims. Now, taking you further inside the courtroom, we also saw the parents of Secoriea Turner. I spoke with her father off camera. He says this is what he wanted in the outcome in today's hearing. And of course, he told me he will be in there every single day when this trial ultimately starts. We're learning a lot more, Portia, about the suspect in this case, including a fight inside Fulton County Jail just weeks ago. I'll have those details when you join us starting at 4. At the Fulton County Courthouse, I'm Eric Perry, Fox 5 News.
Eric, thank you for those details. All right, the search continues for the person who shot and killed 3 family members in a popular Coweta County gun range robbery. Today, family members are holding a funeral for Tommy and Evelyn Hawk and their grandson Luke. That's happening later this afternoon at Unity Baptist Church in Noonan. The gunman murdered the family last Friday at their very popular Lock, Stock, and Barrel gun shop. A GoFundMe page, which is set up, is accepting donations to help the Hawk family pay for burial arrangements.
We are praying for this 11-year-old to be okay, to be healed. And we're also praying for the person who was the gunman. This individual needs help as well.
There's now a $10,000 reward for information in the shooting of a 5th grader at a DeKalb County skating rink. Radio show host and college professor Dr. Rashad Ritchie is funding that reward. Loved ones say someone shot Damari Johnson in the head Saturday night at Golden Glade roller rink off Wesley Chapel Road this morning. His grandmother told me Damari is still in a coma but showing gradual improvement day by day. A police chief believes the person who shot the boy is also a minor. And call the DeKalb County Police tip line if you have any details about the crime or the gunman is on the run. That number also right there on your screen, 770-724-7850. Police have charged 4 teenagers with attacking a fellow student at Loganville High School and locking the teen in a bathroom closet. This morning, Loganville police released the mugshots of 17-year-old Kelsey Hayes. She is the oldest of the 4 suspects and the only one charged as an adult. The other 3 suspects are charged as juveniles. Officers tell us the crime happened twice last month. Detectives allege the students doused the victim with cleaning solution while they yelled homophobic slurs. All 4 students involved face felony false imprisonment charges. In a statement to Fox 5 this morning, the Walton County School District says student safety is a top priority and says school officials are investigating the incident and working with law enforcement officials to ensure the district's code of conduct and legal charges are appropriately enforced. We'll have more on this story tonight on Fox 5 News at 4, 5, and 6. And cleanup efforts underway across parts of central Texas right now. Take a look. The aerial video shows the trail of damage left behind after twisters and damaging winds swept through that area. Those storms caused widespread damage Tuesday in Salado. That's about 50 miles north of Austin. Bell County officials say those storms left 23 people hurt. 1 was critically injured. That line of storms that hit parts of Georgia this morning have lost their punch, moving on out. The rain has moved out for the day as well. And the good news is just going to get better by the day moving forward from here. Fox 5 Storm Team Ryan Beasley, the meteorologist, bringing all the sunshine this afternoon. How you doing, Ryan?
Every glimpse of sunshine you get over the next couple of days, you got to take advantage of.
Yes, indeed.
Because we're going to have more storms rolling on in, one after another. Very proactive weather pattern right now. High pressure building on in, cold front moving out. Through on the high resolution visible satellite, because I want to pinpoint where we're really starting to see that sunshine up through Floyd County, Polk County, moving into parts of Gordon County, Bartow, Cobb County, knocking on the door. But what's bizarre, where the sun is shining, you're much cooler than where the clouds are still in place, and that has to do with the position of where the cold front is. Winds are starting to rotate out of the west versus out of the southwest, and notice our pollen count is in the high range for today. We'll have more on the outlook for storms and impacts this weekend for your Easter plans coming up a little bit later.
All right, Brian, thank you.
The job is not done. We can't be satisfied.
The Atlanta Hawks live to fight another day as they knock the Charlotte Hornets out of the playoff contention. Stay with us to hear what players have to say about their upcoming elimination game. And the woman on your screen right there is behind bars for something police say she did to her own children. Later in this newscast, police spell out what she told officers when they responded to the crime scene. But first,
local law enforcement and state lawmakers line up to denounce comments made by former U.S. Senator David Perdue about the Georgia State Patrol. I'm Claire Sims. Their message just ahead.